So, anyway, we had a very wonderful time. Thank you so much for coming. This year participation was less, comparatively lesser, mainly because in September during Prabhupada's Memorial Festival, many devotees came to the program in Surat. And anyway, the number doesn't really matter. What really matters is the sincere involvement. And another thing is, when too many devotees come, then accommodation becomes a big problem. So this year we're a little relaxed on that. and prasad, yeah, I think it looks like everybody liked the prasad. And these little boys and girls, they were serving. I noticed how enthusiastic they were in serving you all. And they were serving and they were cleaning the pots as well. They were not cooking, but all the pots they were cleaning.
What they say is that they have genuine enthusiasm.
They were genuine?
Genuine enthusiasm.
Right, yeah, genuine enthusiasm, yeah. So, so we'll continue with the Bhagavad Gita. As I mentioned yesterday, one of the most important aspects of Krishna's pastimes out of Vrindavan lies in his speaking the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, of course, is extremely important and very relevant. Krishna came to reveal his Vrindavan pastimes. But at the same time, to appreciate Vrindavan pastimes, we have to be quite advanced. Advanced in the sense we have to know who Krishna is in truth. Mainly because in Vrindavan, Krishna is not acting as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why Vrindavan pastimes is so difficult to understand. And that's why Vrindavan pastimes kept as a secret. Other places in Vaikuntha, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there is no difficulty in recognizing his position. But the Vrindavan pastimes, because he is not acting as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's why Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes become so difficult to understand. Because in Vrindavan, Krishna is just a cowherd boy. Krishna is just like any young boy. He is growing up in Vrindavan, extremely naughty. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is behaving in that way. It becomes a little difficult. And then he's so flirtatious, like he's fooling around with the young girls. Like people won't be able to really appreciate those pastimes unless and until they're completely convinced that this personality is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the moralists find that these pastimes are not appropriate. In one hand, the Lord is saying, Jajjad acharati sreshtas lokastad anuvartate. The way the great man acts, accordingly, the others follow. Now, if people begin to follow Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, then there'll be trouble. That's why it is said that if you want to follow the activities of the Lord, if you want to act like the Lord, if you want to follow in a true sense, according to His examples, then follow Lord Ramchandra's pastimes, not Krishna's pastimes. Lord Ramchandra is a perfect example of morality, virtue. But that's not the case with Krishna. Krishna's attitude is, because he's a Lila Purushottam, his attitude is like, well, I couldn't care less what people think about me. What I do is my own sweet will, because I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I can do whatever I want for my own pleasure. So that's why Vrindavan pastimes cannot be imitated. Actually, nothing can be imitated. Even Lord Ramchandra's pastimes cannot be imitated. Who can imitate Lord Ramchandra's pastimes? Like who will give up his chaste and faithful wife just because somebody else is speaking something about, expressing some doubt about her purity, her chastity? I mean, as a husband, he knew, and what to speak of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still Ramchandra banished her. Who can ever do that? But he is setting the example how a leader must be, how an ideal leader must be. Rupa Gowda, there are some seats vacant here. You can come in the front. You can come here. Here, there are some seats here. You can come and sit in the front. Mataji's also, there are some seats here. If not, we'll bring some more chairs. That's how efficient our management is. So, okay, they're sitting on the floor. Haribol. So, but another way Krishna's Mathura Lila and Dwaraka Lila is very exciting, because this is something that we can relate to also. Krishna is, you see, in Vrindavan, Krishna is killing all the demons in an amazing way, just himself. But here he is facing with the kings and getting into a battle, and so that is very exciting. We like to hear and we like to see war movies, don't we? We like to hear about, and so chivalry, the valor, and the Virarash, the mellow of chivalry, is very exciting. Like all the popular movies, you can see, what does it show? Most of the popular movies, like nowadays among the youngsters, the movies that are popular are like Superman is now obsolete here, but the latest one is Ant-Man. And so they show that the conflict between the hero and the villain. And that makes the adrenaline get excited. So that's how Krishna's Vrindavan Lila is romantic. More of it's romantic, whereas Krishna's Dwaraka Lila is more in chivalry. Battle of Kurukshetra. But inside all these, the real gem of Krishna's instructions is Bhagavad Gita. So as I was mentioning yesterday, Bhagavad Gita is taking us step by step to the ultimate point. First is karma yoga. Arjuna didn't want to fight. But Krishna is inspired him to fight as karma yoga, doing it for him. Yes, fight. And Krishna's point is, you're a Kshatriya, your business is to fight. And your glory lies in your heroism. And so you are a warrior, and if you run away from the battlefield, what's going to happen? Everyone will blaspheme you, right you. They will laugh at you, and it will be such a blemish in your character. Kshatriyas are so chivalrous, so heroic, that they would rather give their life but then run away from the battlefield. Like as I was mentioning the other day, Pradyumna fainted. And when Shalva attacked, Shalva's minister actually attacked him and struck him with the mess so heavy on his chest that Pradyumna fainted. So his charioteer just took him out of the battlefield. According to the rules of battles, that's fine. Like when the warrior is unconscious or wounded, the charioteer can take him out of the battlefield. But as soon as Pradyumna came back to his senses, he was furious. He started to chastise his chariot driver. Why did you do that? It'll bring such infamy to my character. It would have been better that I died in the battlefield than run away from the battlefield. So that is the nature of a Kshatriya. Like when he goes to the battlefield, he knows. He may not come back, he may die. Because these wars are serious wars. They're kind of face to face, a fight. Not hide in a bunker and try to avoid the attacks of the enemy. Nowadays, actually, it's a very cowardly kind of warfare. In those days, the generals would be right there in the battlefield, right in the front, guiding, directing. But nowadays, what happens? The generals are never in the battlefield. From behind, they're trying to control the scene. And the state president, he is kept in the most safe situation. But those days, the king would go right in the battlefield. So that way we can see how heroic those society used to be, and how cowardly today's society has become. A person who is situated in knowledge, he is not afraid to die. And Krishna pointed out to Arjuna that in this battle, those who will die, they'll go back to heaven. And those who will live, they'll enjoy this earth. So there's no loss. If you win the battle, you will enjoy the earth. If you die in the battle, you'll go to heavenly planet. Actually, of course, there not much information is given openly about the spiritual sky. The most of the time the goal is actually heavenly planet, because there is enjoyment. And in order to go to the heavenly planets, they are performing so many austerities. But the bottom line in Bhagavad Gita is to surrender to Krishna. Just surrender unto Krishna. That is what Krishna is bringing us to. So in the from 1 to 6 chapters are Karma Yoga. The importance of Karma Yoga has been described. But then again, at the end of the 6th chapter, what we are finding? Tapasibhyo adhika yogi, jnanibhasya matodhika, karmidbhaschadhiko yogi, tasmat yogi bhavarjana. Arjun, you become a yogi. Because the position of a yogi is the highest. It is far superior to austerity and penance. It is far superior to jnana or empiric knowledge. Is far superior to fruitive work. So therefore you become a yogi. But then right after that, at the last verse of this chapter, Krishna is saying, Yoginam api sarvesham. Of all the yogis, among all the yogis, madgatena antaratmana shraddhaban bhajate jomam. One who is rendering devotional service with implicit faith. He is most intimately connected to me. So of all the yogis, who is the best? Devotee. So Krishna is actually imparting this knowledge in this way. That karma is not so important. But acting on behalf of karma is the real objective. So then Krishna, coming to the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Then we come to the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the 7th chapter, the 2nd verse, Krishna is telling Arjuna, Jnanam teham sabhijnanam idam bhaksham asheshataha jaj gyatva neha bhuya annaj gyatabbam avasishyate. Krishna is telling, Jnanam te aham sabhijnanam. I'll impart the knowledge. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Sa vijnanam, jnanam and vijnanam. In simple words, knowledge and realized knowledge. When it is theoretical, it is knowledge. When it is practically assimilated, realized, then it is vijnanam. So Krishna is saying that now I will give you, now I will impart the knowledge unto you. The phenomenal and noumenal. The theoretical knowledge and practical realization of that knowledge. And jaj gyatva neha bhuya annaj gyatabbam avashishyate. When you understand that, then there won't be nothing else to learn, nothing else to know. So what is that knowledge? That knowledge is the knowledge about himself, the knowledge about devotion to himself. Is there anything beyond Krishna? No. Therefore, when you get to know Krishna, we have known everything. Jaj gyatva, Jasmin vigyate sarvam evam vigyatang bhavati. Knowing him, everything becomes known. When you get to know Krishna, everything becomes known. Now, statements like this sometimes becomes quite bewildering. How is it possible? Just by knowing Krishna, everything becomes known. Now, in that respect, an example has been given. The example is that when the sun comes up, then don't you get to see everything? In the light of the sun, you see the sun. In the light of the sun, you see yourself, and in the light of the sun, you see everybody else, everything else. So seeing Krishna, knowing Krishna is something like that. As if the sun came up and everything became clear. Whereas when the sun is not there, in darkness, how do we see things? We need a lamp or a torchlight, and with that light we have to see things. Like a small little light, we are projecting here, we are seeing this, we are projecting there, we are seeing this. But when sun comes up, is there any need for that kind of endeavor? When the sun comes up, then there is no need for any other light. Our endeavor to see things or know things in this material nature is something like that. Seeing things with a small little lamp. But knowing Krishna, receiving spiritual knowledge is something like that. Everything becomes manifest. But then Krishna is saying, Manushyanam sahasreshu koshchit jatati siddhaya. Number 3. Manushyanam sahasreshu, out of thousands and thousands of people, koshchit, really one, jatati siddhaye, aspires for siddhi or spiritual perfection. Out of many thousands of men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Koshchin mang vetti tattvataha. Really one knows me tattvataha, in truth. So, so that is how rare it is. Out of thousands and thousands of people, really one aspire for spiritual perfection. And those who have achieved perfection, really one gets to, out of them it is difficult to find a devotee of Krishna. Kotishapi Mahamune. O great sage, out of millions and millions of people, it's Sudurlabha, very rare to find a devotee of Krishna. Now the question is it true that we got it so easily? We got it so easily because Prabhupada made it available to us. This is extremely rare. This wealth of Krishna consciousness is extremely rare. But it's Prabhupada who actually made it so easily available for us. Had Prabhupada not have come, we wouldn't have been here. We wouldn't have been in Krishna consciousness. And we can consider, if we did not meet Srila Prabhupada, and if we wanted to make spiritual advancement or take to spiritual life, what we would have done? Before coming to Krishna consciousness, did any one of you aspired for spiritual progress, spiritual life? None? Okay. But I can tell you, I was trying. But those days my understanding was go to Himalaya, find a guru, and he would show you everything and so forth. Fortunately, I didn't find any guru. That's Krishna's mercy. I met many so-called sadhus, but for some reason, by Krishna's mercy, I did not surrender to any one of them. One person I was about to surrender to, but she was a lady who was, her name was Ananda Mahima. She is very well known those days in India. I stayed in her ashram, and I was ready, I thought of surrendering. Because I liked the atmosphere. There was a sannyasi who was very nice and so forth. And mother was Anandamayi was very affectionate, very kind. But when he took me, and with the idea to say that, I was about to surrender, she didn't accept me. Fortunately. It was very nice, actually. She told me, or rather told me and him also. And his name was Sarupananda Swami. And he said that he doesn't belong here. She said, he doesn't belong here. And then she said, well, anyway, I'm saying it because I wrote it in the book that is about to come out. In that book I mentioned that incident. That's why since I wrote it there, so I am also telling you. She actually told me at that time that, but when he takes to this path, the whole world will come under his feet. And in a way I can see that I'm traveling around everywhere. So in a way, the whole world has come under my feet. So she was the only one that I was kind of impressed. And anyway, but as I said, fortunately, I didn't surrender to anyone. And generally what happens, when you aspire for spiritual life, we tend to think that, oh, now I have to leave everything, go to the forest or go to the Himalayas, and there I have to practice this austerities and penances. But when we came to Krishna consciousness, we found a completely different way of making spiritual progress. And what is the process? Sing and dance and eat and go to the spiritual world. We are approaching towards the spiritual world just singing and dancing and eating. And if somebody asks today, do you know Krishna? What will be our answer? Yes. We are not shy about admitting that. Yes, we know Krishna. Whereas, even those who are spiritually accomplished, have achieved spiritual perfection, for them it's rare to understand Krishna. Whereas we found it so easily, because there are two ways. One is trying to catch your ear like this. Other is like this. So there is a difficult way and there is an easy way. So by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy we found the easy way. Otherwise this way was very difficult in normal condition. Achieving Krishna, understanding Krishna was very, very difficult. Because it was kept as a secret. Because it was such a precious wealth that it was not offered to anybody. Just consider, if something is very valuable, say the position of the Prime Minister of India. Is that position easily achievable? It's very difficult to achieve. But if there is monarchy, and one becomes the king of the sun, will it become difficult for him to become the king of the country, head of the country? Yeah, so that is the thing. All these people are aspiring the process whereby they are trying to become the Prime Minister of India through elections and political strife, political maneuvering. Whereas we are, by birth, we are the children of the king. Children of the king, and so we have the natural right to the kingdom. We didn't have to do anything. We can just sing and dance and fool around. But we have won the kingdom of God. That is the wonderful good fortune that we have. Yes, we are the children of the not just the king. We are the children of King of Kings. When we surrender to Krishna, we have become the kings, the children of the King of the Kings. That's the difference between Christianity and Krishna consciousness movement. Christianity says that the king has only one son. And we are saying we all are his children. They can't figure out how so many can have this good fortune. But we know that we have the good fortune because we have a grandfather like Srila Prabhupada. He created this good fortune, linked us up to this most amazing process. And what do we have to do? Like, just consider normally what people do when they take to spiritual life. First of all, the thing they do is they reject everything. Then they go to a secluded place. And in that place there is nothing to eat, no place to sleep, and hardship, no shelter, nothing. Severe winter, extremely hot summer, torrents of rain in monsoon, and wind and cyclones and so forth. How difficult that life is. It's not an easy life. Like even if when you are just traveling around in search of spiritual path, you see the hardship that is there. Whereas the path that we have accepted, does it have anything like that? Like no place to stay? Did it ever happen since you joined ISKCON? No food to eat? Rather you suffer from overeating. Most of the devotees ISKCON face one problem, at least I can say that. And apart from that, everything is so blissful. Like, go and talk to people about Krishna, people invite you, wherever you go. Like, people treat you like a king. Even I remember, and the Sankirtan devotees can also confirm it, that when you go out in Sankirtan or preaching in the villages, the village people make such wonderful arrangements. They don't have anything, but they treat you so nicely. Not that they don't have anything, whatever they have, they just offer it to you. All you need is a good cook. The rest is theirs. They will provide. That experience I had once with 6 boys. I left Chandigarh and went on foot. I actually wanted to go to Kurukshetra, but we took a wrong turn and we started to go towards north, whereas Kurukshetra was in south. And we started to move towards the Himalayas. And we started in the morning. We didn't take anything. Nothing, no cooking utensils, nothing. We just started to walk. And we didn't also have any money. One person who was very close to us, he was an engineer of Bhakranangal project, who actually is the temple president of Chandigarh temple. Nanda Maharaj Prabhu. He gave us, I think, 100 rupees. So that's about all. And those 100 rupees was quite a lot of money. So that's about all we had with us. But we are not thinking of just buying food or doing things like that, staying in. So we started to walk. We stopped at a place. We're tired. We just sat down under a tree. And in no time, a whole lot of villagers came and surrounded us, started to inquire about who we are. And then in no time, they just brought the rice and wheat flour and vegetables, and they brought they took us to one place, a temple kind of a thing, and we just in the courtyard, next to the temple, they arranged the chula and things, and we cooked food, and that's how we got the idea what to do every day. So we used to start in the morning, and then we would stop in a village. We'll look for a temple or something that would come on the way. And in no time, people will come and sit around us, and the same thing would happen. And then in the evening, we used to have a wonderful program. And then we went to the next morning, we just left. During that time, I had a wonderful experience. This is actually the spiritual India. Like for sadhus, there is no problem at all. You can just go and you can see like how, and they're so appreciative when you speak to them about Krishna. And simple things also, you tell them, in the villages in Punjab, most of the people drink. And you tell them that, don't drink. And they appreciate it, they love it. That somebody is telling them not to do something that they shouldn't. Yeah, one experience we had, I told you before also, so many of you know that. Once we came across a river to cross. And we didn't know how to cross the river, there was no boat or anything there. So then some people invited us. They had pitched a tent. So they saw us, and I think two persons came and invited, please come to where we are. And so we went there, and we saw some very strong looking people. And I thought in Punjab everyone looks like that. I didn't pay much heed to that, and they were nice, and they asked us to make all the arrangements, and we spent a few hours with them, and towards the evening they gave us a donation also. In those days I used to wear a watch. I was walking like that, but I had a watch. And he told, look, you're a sadhu, why are you wearing a watch? That the leader of that person. That was the only comment he actually made. Otherwise he was just listening. And they all listened. We gave a class. And so then that leader of that group, he sent one person to take us to a place where there would be a ferry boat. So when we were walking with that person to the boat to cross the river, this person told me, do you know who we are? He said, we are dacoits. So, and I found them to be such nice people. I mean, at least towards us, they were so respectful, like. And that's what I was saying, like, this is the spiritual India. Like, they're so kind towards sadhus. And anyway, so Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Out of thousands and thousands of people, really one achieve perfection, those who aspire for perfection, and those who have achieved perfection, out of them it's rare to find a devotee of Krishna. And then in the fourth verse, Krishna is telling what is this material nature like and who we are. Krishna is actually, in 2 verses, Krishna is establishing the spiritual identity of a living entity. Previously also he has done that in a few verses in the 2nd chapter. Do you remember those verses? The first one is Krishna told that there was never a time when you, I, and these kings were not here. We had always been here. But then he pointed out that the body, the difference between the body and the soul. So body is not the self, the body is the covering. The soul is the self. So in this way, and then Krishna established the nature of the soul. But see how wonderfully Krishna is establishing the identity of the spirit, our actual identity, being spiritual, is that everyone is listening to the phone ringing. So Krishna just pointed out that this material nature is made of 8 elements. Bhumi means earth. Apa means water. Anala, fire. Vayu, air. Kham, ether. How many you got? 5. Then man, buddhi and ahankar. Mind, intelligence and false ego. How many you got? Very good. 8. So Krishna is saying this material nature is made of these 8 elements. But then Krishna is saying this material nature composed of these 8 elements is inferior nature of mind. But beyond that there is a superior nature of mind. The spiritual world. And the living entities, Jiva Bhutan, are coming from that spiritual world. See how wonderfully Krishna established. Where did you come from? Do you belong to this material nature? We came from Krishna's superior energy. Inferior energy is this material nature. Beyond that there is a superior energy, and the living entities, Jiva Bhutan, are coming from the superior spiritual energy. So what's your identity? Where did you come from? Can I hear? Okay, very good. Coming from the spiritual world. And then Krishna is saying, Jajedang dharjate jagat. These living entities are sustaining this material nature. Jajedang dharjate jagat. So do you belong to the material nature? Where do you belong to? And do you want to stay here? No. Then where do you want to go? Why do you want to go there? Because that's your home. Now as long as you're here, what are you going to do? tell everybody about that world, where they came from. Right? How many of you are going to do that? Laranya, you have become thoughtful, wondering whether what to say. So are you going to tell your friends about another world? Right? What will you tell them? Come here. Okay. Okay, you can take this. Oh, no, there. We might do that, okay? So what will you tell your friends and whoever you see, whoever you meet? Even to your dad's friends and mom's friends.
How to go back to Goloka.
Yeah? How?
To surrender to Krishna.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Just by surrendering to Krishna, you can go back to Golok, yeah? You surrender to Krishna and Krishna will send the vehicles. Okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna. Come here. Hare Krishna. Now, in spite of hearing all these, some people do not take to Krishna. Who are they? Those who are the miscreants, duskritina. Namang duskritina mudha prapadante naradhama. Mayaya aparhita jnana asurim bhavam ashrita. Who are the duskritina? They fall in 4 categories. What are the 4 categories? Mudha. Mudha means idiots. Stupido. And namang dushkritina mudha naradhama. Naradhama, what is the nara means? Human beings. And adhama means below human beings. Who are the below human beings? Animals. So those who have the body of a human being, but the mentality of an animal, they don't accept Krishna. Those who are stupid, we can understand. They're stupid, that's why they can't. But these people are naradhama, they're subhuman creatures. But those who have body of a man and the head of an animal. Of course, not Nrishingadev. The mentality of an animal. I remember, and people get this idea also. Long back, long before I became even a devotee, I remember one short story by Daphne du Maurier. How many of you know of her? An English author. In England they pronounce as Daphne du Maurier. Anyway, so something happened to her, and when she looked at the mirror, she saw that she got the head of a rabbit. And then, she was very distressed, and finally she got rid of that. But then what happened is that she started to everybody with animals' heads or birds' heads, something like that. What she was actually trying to say that these people are human bodies, but their mentality is like that of an animal, not quite human beings. So, naradhama, and then mayaya aparhita jnana. whose knowledge has been stolen by Maya. Mayaya aparhita jnana. And ashuring bhavam asritaha. Those who are demoniac. So these are the four types of people, those who are duskritina. And then there are four types who are also devotees, sukritina. Who are they? That was, I didn't add here. That is, Chaturbidha bhajante mam. The four types of people, they worship me. Chaturbidha bhajante mam. Jana sukritina Arjuna. They are sukritina. These are duskritina and they are sukritina. And who are those? Artha, Artharthi, Jigyasu and Gyani. What is the symptom of a duskritina? They do not want to accept Krishna. What's the symptom of a sukritina? Those who surrender to Krishna, those who accept Krishna. There are also four types. Who? Artha, those who are in distress. Artharthi, in need of money. Jigyasu, inquisitive. Gyani, situated in knowledge. So then we are in this way, in the 7th chapter, Krishna made all these very, very important, gave all these instructions. There are many other verses, I just selected a few. Now we are going to chapter 9. What is the specialty of chapter 9? In chapter 9, Krishna is giving the king of knowledge. King of knowledge. So, you see, now you can want, as I told you yesterday, where do you keep the most precious object? In the middle. Now, out of 18 chapters, 6 middle chapters are most important in Bhagavad Gita. Those chapters are 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Now, which one is the middle one? Chapter 9. So that is why that's how we can see this is the most important aspect of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 9, chapter 10. So chapter 9 has been described as Rajavidya. Rajavidya, Rajagvijham, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam, Prabhakshaba Gamam, Dharmam, Susukham Kartum Abbayam. So Rajavidya, this king of knowledge, is also the most intimate, most profound secret. Rajagvijham. Pavitram, it's also Pavitram. Pavitram means auspicious. And idam uttamam, and is very, very exalted, most of exalted knowledge. Pratyaksha avagamam dharmam, of the self-realization, and because it gives direct perception of self-realization. And at the same time, susukham. Sukham means happy, joyful. It is executed very happily. Susukham kartum abbayam, and it is joyfully performed. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. Then Krishna is saying that in my manifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Maya tatamidam sarvam, this is like Krishna's mystic opulence, as he himself is admitting. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadabhyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshu avastitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. But then next verse he is saying, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Everything that is created doesn't rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. The point here is, Krishna created this material nature, Krishna manifested this material nature, but Krishna is not involved in this nature. Nacha matsthani bhutani pashyame yogamaisharam. Generally, when somebody builds something or creates something, he gets involved in that. But Krishna's nature, although he created, he is not attached. Because this is Krishna's inferior nature. Then Krishna is saying, avajananti mang mudha. Again, mudha. What's the meaning of the word mudha? Anyway, I'm sure you remember that. Avajananti mang mudha. Avajananti means deride. Deride. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. Fools deride me when I descend in human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. Then Krishna is pointing out who is a Mahatma. Mahatmanastu mang partha daiving prakritim ashrita bhajanti ananna manaso gyatva bhutadim abhayam. Mahatmanastu mang partha. Who is a Mahatma? What does the meaning of the word Mahatma? Maha Atma. Maha means great. Atma means soul. The great soul. The great spiritual personalities actually. Who is a true great spiritual personality? And those who are making politics, often we give them the title Mahatma. Like Mahatma Gandhi. Had nothing to do with spiritual life. But he is identified as Mahatma. But here Prabhupada is pointing out, who is a Mahatma? Mahatmanastu mang partha, who has taken shelter of my Daivi Prakriti, divine nature. Not trying to make India free. That is not the symptom of a Mahatma. Material nature is not so important. What really matters is the spiritual reality. And we can see, like he freed India, British left, but they didn't lose control over India. India was still under their domination. And then, instead of creating Ram Rajya, we can say how this country has become Ravan Rajya, Ravana's kingdom. So what's the point in that? Messed up the whole scene. Actually, many people may not like this statement, but Prabhupada once mentioned that India was better off when the British was ruling India. Murli Krishna is shaking his head. He knows that, because he also knows that South Africa was better off when the whites were ruling the country. If they can manage the country, let them rule it. What's the big deal? For all these years, India has ruled over the whole world, and now that Kali Yuga came, everything turns upside down. Then other rulers are coming and ruling over the country. What's the big deal? It's all temporary. When we die, will it matter who is the President of India or Prime Minister of India? Will you care what the share market is like? Will you care what the value of Indian currency is? No. But when we die, what really will matter? Where we are going to go? So prepare for your next destination. That's what really matters. Don't be too caught up here. Okay, try, as Prabhupada would also say, try to make the best out of a bad bargain. Our situation in this material nature is a bad bargain. So what we can do is try to make the best of it. And how to make the best of it? By becoming Krishna conscious and by spreading Krishna consciousness. So who is a Mahatma? Who has taken off Krishna's Daivi Prakritim, meaning who has taken shelter of Krishna's spiritual nature, who has taken to spiritual life. And bhajanti ananda manasa. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So who is the Mahatma? On this verse, Prabhupada gave a very nice lecture one day. Prabhupada was saying, who are recognized as Mahatma? Prabhupada didn't speak much about Gandhi, but Prabhupada spoke about so-called some spiritual leaders, especially in Bengal. He is actually atheist, but he is taken as a Mahatma. He is saying, where you are worshipping the Lord in the temple, don't you see that so many gods are roaming around in front of you? Those who love human beings, he is actually serving God. Jibe prem kore jai jan, shei jan shebiche Ishwar. And that person is considered to be a big Mahatma still now. He is actually an atheist. He didn't accept Krishna. His thing was, why become a devotee? Why sing the glory of the Lord? It's better to cultivate eggplants in the field and play football. Then you'll have strong body and some food to eat. But serving God, what will you get? You can see that he is a Duratma, he's not a Mahatma. But people are thinking these are the Mahatma. Why? Remember the Pondraka story? Pondraka, who thought he was God. Why? Because some of his stupid followers promoted him. Oh, you are God. And he started to think, yes, I am God. Although Krishna was present on the planet at that time. So we have to recognize who is a real Mahatma. Real Mahatmas are those who have taken shelter of Krishna's divine energy, the spiritual energy, and those who are engaged in in rendering devotional service to Krishna. So then I'll go to how to render service to Krishna. Krishna is saying, bhajanti ananna manaso. One who renders service unto me with an unflinching faith, ananna manaso, undeviating attention. Who is that? How does he do that? Patrang pushpang phalam toyam yo me bhakta prajachati. With devotion, if one offers me some fruits, some flowers, some leaves, and some water, I accept it. But what is the important factor here? Bhakti. Jo me bhakta prajachati. Then Krishna is saying, whatever you do, yesterday also we considered, can one stay without acting, without being active? So we have to act. But whatever you do it for Krishna. Whatever you eat for Krishna. Whatever austerities you perform it for Krishna's pleasure. And whatever you give in charity, give it to Krishna. So this is how Krishna is reminding us how to render service unto him. And then Krishna is instructing us what to do with our mind. Man mana bhavo mad bhakta majjaji mang namaskuru. Man mana bhava. With your mind you think of me. Man mana bhava. Mad bhakta. Become my devotee. Majjaji. Majjaji. Worship me. And mama evaishashi mang namaskuru, and offer obeisances unto me. Man mana bhava mad bhakta majjaji mang namaskuru. Mame vaishashi sattam te. Mame vaishashi yuktaivam atmanang mat parayanaha. Being engaged in this way, you'll surely come to me. So this is the assurance that Krishna is giving. So here we can see how easy it is to win Krishna's favor. We simply have to act on his behalf. Whatever we eat, we accept it, must accept it as his prasad. And we should think about, think about me, man mana bhava mad bhakta, become my devotee. Think about me, become my devotee, worship me and offer obeisances to me. Okay, so now we are going to the 10th chapter. So 10th chapter is displaying Krishna's opulence. It's called Vibhuti Yoga. So Vibhutim means opulence and mystic power. Etang vibhuting yogam cha mam javetti tattvataha so abhikalpena yogena jujjate natra samsayaha. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. Then these 4 verses from the 10th chapter are considered to be the summary essence or the essence of Bhagavad Gita. These 4 verses goes like Ahang sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvang pravartate iti matva bhajante mang buddha bhava samannita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So, ahang sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Sarvasya, everything emanates from me, and everything is also resting in me. Matta sarvam pravartate. And iti matva, knowing this, bhajante mang, when one becomes engaged in rendering service to Krishna, bhajante mang, he is buddha bhava samannita. He is situated in proper intelligence. The wise, Prabhupada used the expression wise here, buddha bhava samannita. Then matchitta madgata prana, matchitta madgata prana, bodhayanta parasparam, kathayantascha mang nittam, tushyanti cha, ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So, how does a pure devotee act? What is the nature of a pure devotee? Kathayantascha mang nittam. They always talk about me, my instructions, and my glory. And by doing that, tushyanti cha, they feel great delight within their hearts. They feel great satisfaction, and they experience transcendental bliss. Then next verse is Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatang priti purvakam dadami buddhi jogam tam yena mam upajanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So, those who are constantly devoted to serving Krishna with love, Krishna bestows, Krishna gives them the understanding by which they can come to me. Okay, tesham evanu kampartham aham agyana jantamo nasayami atma bhavastho jnana deepena bhashyatha. To show them special mercy, I dwell in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So this is how Krishna removes the ignorance from the heart of his devotees, and as he mentioned here, that he destroys with the shining lamp of knowledge. With the shining lamp of knowledge, he destroys the darkness born of ignorance. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that today. And so, what are you all going to do? Will you read Bhagavad Gita regularly, attentively, seriously? Who are going to do that? Very good. Thank you. Did you raise your hands? Huh? I didn't see it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, I don't know, maybe for 10-15 minutes we can have some question-answer sessions. Who has a question? Okay, give him the mic.
And that was Krishna mentions that among those who achieve perfection and even those being good. So as far as our conception, at least my conception was that knowing Krishna into itself perfection. Then what does that mean? Actually, I didn't get that.
What does it mean, what?
That means it is written that among those who get perfection, among those anyone can know Krishna in truth.
Not anyone can. Rarely anyone.
That's what I was asking. Knowing Krishna itself is perfection, then how is that two means are there?
Okay. Do you know Krishna? How do you know Krishna? What is your understanding of Krishna? Huh?
Krishna is supreme personality of God.
Okay. So, and what is your relationship with him? Okay, so this is the way of knowing Krishna in truth. But those people, those who have achieved perfection, most of them don't even know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and their business is to become a devotee of Krishna. You got the point?
If they do not know Krishna in truth, how they can be called perfect?
That they have perfection, there are different other types of perfection. Their perfection is to merge into Brahma Jyoti. So they merged into Brahma Jyoti, but they don't understand that Krishna is the source of Brahma Jyoti. Okay. So there is a very important question from Pranaya. So Pranaya is writing, Guru Maharaj, when you said that you cannot imitate Krishna, but act less, at least actress. But actress try to copy Krishna's pastimes. Can they actually imitate Krishna's pastimes? Well, in the movies they can do it. Those who are playing the role of Krishna, they can do it. But acting means, you see, in the movie, by the arrangement of camera, they can show Krishna is lifting Govardhan Hill. But can anybody lift Govardhan Hill? No. At least I can't. That's why I said that I can't imitate Krishna. All right? Thank you very much for this beautiful question you asked. Mukunda Murari. Okay. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, kindly accept my humble obeisances. Dust of your lotus feet. Could you tell us more about your association with Ananda Mahima and at what point you left her? I already told you. You see, when I came back to India, I was searching for a guru. And so I landed in Delhi. I actually traveled overland. Came to Afghanistan, Kabul. And from Kabul, I took a flight. But then, from there I went straight to Haridwar. Then to Rishikesh. And in this way, I kept on traveling in the Himalayas, thinking, those days I used to think that if I want to search for a guru, then I have to go to the Himalayas. That is the place where all the gurus are. At least all those sadhus generally hang out there. And then, when I was at one point, I got so disappointed from the situation in, like those days, seeing, that I couldn't really accept anybody. Then I stayed in one of Ananda Mahima's ashram on the bank of the Ganges. Then there I met one sannyasi who was Ananda Mahima's disciple. He was actually one of the leading disciples of Ananda Mahima. And he became very fond of me. So he invited me to go to Benares with him, where Ananda Mahima was. So she had an ashram there. So I was there. That's where I actually met her. Why, do you know her? Did you know her? You heard of her, yeah. Next question. Tushtatma Krishnadas. Where is Tushtatma? Okay. Guru Maharaj, I have a few questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. If a ghost cannot able to eat anything without gross body, how can he take prasad offering as pinda? Good question, Tushtatma Krishna. Because the pinda is not eaten by the subtle body. Pinda is eaten by the spirit soul. Lord's mercy, by accepting that, because you see, he has the hunger and something is offered to him, then he can approach that. But when he gets the Krishna Prasad, then he becomes free from his subtle body and gets his spiritual body. Okay? Number 2, what is the difference between Ashtanga Yoga and yoga given in Bhagavad Gita by Patanjali? No, Patanjali gave Ashtanga Yoga, but Bhagavad Gita is giving Bhakti Yoga. Okay? Okay, and then another question. Already have 5 questions and 1 question without a number. Regarding chanting, where it should be done very sincerely. Where it should be done very sincerely, wherever you can make your mind steady and attentively listen to the holy name, that is where you chant the holy name. Next, number 3, I have seen some devotees chant on bite. Oh, beads. Yeah. What's the spelling of beads? It's B-E-A-D, not B-I-T-E. Bite means to bite. Without chanting bag, even on initiated bite. Is it right according to scripture? No, one should chant. I mean, unless and until one is working outside and he can't use his bead bag, then there he can use a clicker. But otherwise one should try to chant in beads. Next question 4. If any superior comes, like Guru Maharaj, somebody offering obeisances with chanting bag during chanting, or keep chanting bag indicated where it is finished, and after that they start chanting from the indicating point. Is it right way? Yes, you can do that. If you stop chanting at some point, you can keep the mark and continue from chanting from there. Next question, somebody do another service like chanting. Should chanting be done in this way? Was that somebody do another service with chanting? Should chanting be done in this way? I didn't understand the question. Anyway, I answered quite a few of your questions. Jagat Jivan Das. Okay, don't take any more questions. This is question, what lesson people in general should derive from Lord Ram banished Mother Sita's pastime? They should just cry, thinking that only Ramchandra can behave like that. Hare Krishna, this one is from V. Ramchandran. Prayers to Guru Maharaj. Okay, pranams to Guru Maharaj. Regarding yesterday's lecture, I have the following query. In Vedic life, cremation of the body is required. Why sannyasis are buried? Because sannyasis get into samadhi. They are not. It's understood that they don't really die as such, so therefore their bodies are kept preserved. Because at that stage it's considered that they have gone to samadhi. Rama Mohan Das. A question is, how can one follow footsteps of Lord Ramchandra, who is going to join as full-time devotee against his parents' desire? Okay. But Lord Ramchandra always followed order of his parents. Well, you see, Ramchandra was following the order of his parents, order of his parents, because he was establishing the proper principle. And the proper principle is to surrender unto Krishna, surrender unto Ramchandra, surrender unto him. So when it comes to surrendering to Krishna, surrendering to Ramchandra, and if the parents are causing obstructions, then you can disregard the parents. But don't tell your parents that I told you. Dharmatma Krishna, if someone's mentality is like that of an animal, then does his subtle body is also in shape of an animal? Good chance of that. Those who don't surrender to Krishna, they are actually running the risk of developing an animal body. And consider, nowadays it has become so, the possibility is so acute of that, getting an animal body. Like, so many people are just keeping dogs at home. They develop their attachment to their dogs so much. So at the time of death, you're most attached the last thought will be where your greatest attachment is. So if one develops his greatest attachment to a dog, he is just paving his way to the dog's kingdom. Therefore, one should be very careful. Chandrakanta Das, where is Chandrakanta? Chandrakanta is from Indore, he is from class 11, right? Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. If we get the punishment of our bad karmas in several births, so why there is a need of hell? The punishment takes place in the hell. Okay? The hell is there to give you the punishment, not you. give the sinful people punishment. Jagat Snan Das, whose question is this? Who gave one of the last questions? Jagat something. Oh, Jagat Jivan. Okay. Your I and V is looking like N. What is the effect of time, place and circumstances as Ekadasi, Janmashtami, different pastimes of different position of sun at time of leaving body by non-devotee or general people? You see, generally, according to one's own karma, one will leave his body also. So when he leaves his body, has its impression. Sunil Mohan. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. A new movie is being distributed called X-Man, Apocalypse, in which the chief antagonist is the evil demon of Apocalypse, is portrayed to be Lord Krishna. The demon, the movie states, I have been called many things over many lifetimes. Ram, Krishna, etc. How do we view the onslaught? Anyway, when Ravan makes a film, what do you expect? When Ravan's followers, just consider, Ravan's followers are making a movie. How will they portray it? Who will be the protagonist there and who will be the antagonist? So there is no surprise. Only thing we know, they are Ravan's followers. Okay.